Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you're having an amazing day. Let's get right into the stories. The first one is an entitled people story. When I inherited my grandparents' house after they passed away, I was excited to move into their quiet neighborhood. The house held many happy childhood memories for me, and I looked forward to settling in. That dream was shattered pretty quickly by the Neighborhood Homeowners Association and its president, Karen. Karen was the stereotypical nosy neighbor who seemed to think she ran the whole neighborhood. She was always sticking her nose in other people's business and trying to enforce trivial homeowners association rules. I tried to avoid her at first, but it didn't take long for her to zero in on me. The first incident was over my mailbox. She showed up at my door one day in a huff, claiming my mailbox was the wrong style for the neighborhood. She demanded I change it immediately to comply with homeowners association guidelines. The thing is, I never agreed to join the homeowners association or follow their rules. I politely informed Karen of this fact, but she insisted the homeowners association had authority over all the houses in the neighborhood. I told her I would be keeping my mailbox and shut the door in her face. A few weeks later, as I was planting some bushes in my front yard, Karen stormed over in a rage. She scolded me for not submitting a landscaping plan to the homeowners association for approval. I reminded her again that I wasn't part of the homeowners association, but she ignored me. She then threatened to have my bushes torn out for being non-compliant. At this point, I'd had enough of her harassment. I told Karen to get off my property immediately or I'd be calling the police. She scowled at me but backed down. Her next move was to send me an official notice stating I was in violation of homeowners association rules for failure to maintain my property to community standards. It seems she didn't like my habit of letting the grass grow a bit longer than the homeowners association permitted. The notice said I had 2 weeks to make changes or face fines. I sent a copy to my lawyer. Soon after, I received a letter from the homeowners association's attorney, insisting I make the demanded changes to my landscaping and claiming the homeowners association had authority over my property. My lawyer sent a strong response, stating they had no legal right to enforce their rules on a non-member. That's when the homeowners association decided to take things up a notch. One Saturday morning, I opened my front door to find a landscaping crew in my front yard beginning to tear out my lawn and bushes. Karen was standing there with a smug grin, overseeing the destruction. I immediately told the crew to stop while I called the police. By the time they arrived, Karen had fled, knowing she was in the wrong. With a police report in hand documenting the Homeowners Association's illegal trespass and property damage, I sued Karen and the entire Homeowners Association board for harassment, trespass, and damages. At the court hearing, Karen once again tried to claim the Homeowners Association had authority over all neighborhood properties. My lawyer presented our evidence proving I had never agreed to join or be subject to Homeowners Association rules. When it was my turn to testify, I told the judge about the Homeowners Association's repeated harassment and escalating actions to force their rules on me. I described the emotional toll Karen's bullying had taken. I asked for damages to cover repairs to my yard and for a restraining order keeping Karen and the Homeowners Association off my property. When the Homeowners Association's president took the stand, she gave weak excuses for their trespassing and damage, insisting it was a misunderstanding. She said because I owned property in the neighborhood, I was automatically subject to homeowners association governance. The judge listened with a very skeptical look. In the end, the judge resoundingly ruled in my favor, saying the homeowners association had grossly overstepped their authority. He awarded me damages for the yard repairs and issued a permanent injunction banning the homeowners association from setting foot on my property or harassing me in any way. Karen was furious at the verdict. As we left court, I gave her a smile and a little wave. I think that gesture just infuriated her more. The judge's ruling sent a clear message. The homeowners association is not all-powerful, despite what they want people to think. If you stand up to their bullying, you can win. I'm just glad I knew my rights as a non-homeowners association member and had the law on my side. Now I can finally relax and enjoy my new home in peace without Karen's interference. The next one is a pro-revenge story. So this past Christmas, my missus and I purchased one of our 9-year-old son's Santa gifts from a certain UK sports retail company that also have many stores here in Ireland as well. It was a football rebounder. Kinda like a trampoline that you kick the ball at and it bounces back to you. Anyway, we purchased it from their Irish website and thought nothing more of it. A few days go by and we get a notification from a certain brown uniformed courier company that there are customs charges due on something, and as you can imagine, we've bought many things for the kids, so we had to double check what we've ordered and we didn't have anything left that was being imported, so we naturally assumed it was a scam. So I told the wife to call the company and find out who shipped it, and it was a different courier company based in the UK. After a bit of digging and investigating, it turns out that it's our rebounder. They had shipped it from the UK via a local carrier to the brown uniform guys to deliver to us. Now, my wife and I are both on disability, so an additional charge of almost €50 when you're both already on a fixed income is harsh, especially at Christmas. So I told her to pay it and I'd deal with the retailer. The first day I called, I had to call 3 times, being stuck on hold for at least 20 minutes each time. But I was patient and polite because I've worked in a call center before, so I knew those people are only doing their job. But I asked to speak to a manager and was promised a call back each time that never happened. The second day was quite similar. The third day I was starting to get annoyed, so called back, waiting even longer on hold, and finally wasn't taking this crap any longer. I told the rep that all I wanted was the €50 back because our consumer rights in Ireland dictate that a person must be informed of any additional charges on a purchase, at the very latest, by the final checkout screen. And in this case, there was nothing to show that, and I could easily replicate that issue by putting the same item in my basket and going all the way to the checkout screen again, and there was nothing saying we'd have to pay import charges. The rep was indifferent to the situation but tried to help, and what he said sent me over the edge. He offered me a measly €20 gift voucher to use on their website, but more importantly, he read a statement to me. He said, "We advise our customers that there may be DDU charges, delivery duty unpaid, that is customs charges, on any item that gets shipped outside of the UK. Then I asked him where it states this information, and he paused, then said he didn't actually know. I said, "Well, I know one thing, it doesn't say it anywhere on this transaction because I've checked, and because this is a violation of my consumer rights, I'm going to give your company one last chance to make this right. Have your manager call me within the next 60 minutes, or I'm going to post this entire debacle on LinkedIn and link every senior officer in your company." Then I hung up the phone and waited. Yet again, no call. The next day I went on LinkedIn and followed through on my promise. I created a post detailing what they had done by sticking us with hidden charges and that they were ignoring our requests for a manager and everything they said and did. Then I tagged every senior officer at that company from the regional managers through the European directors, all the way to the CEO, and I shamed them for how they operate their company. This, ladies and gentlemen, was now an act of war. Shortly after I posted that, I noticed that they took down the item from their website in an attempt to hide this, but they must have thought in a simpleton that doesn't understand how the internet works. They didn't realize that when you searched for rebounder on their site, that it shows the item in question, so I took a screenshot of that, then another of the item page that was now missing. But then I did a Google cached search for the same page and found a version from 2 days prior, happily showing the item. Then I added a comment to my original post highlighting how they were trying to hide it with the evidence and trolling them for their heinous behavior, especially at Christmas. Then I tagged and shamed all the senior officers again, and at this point it was really starting to get some attention, not only publicly, but 3 people in incognito mode viewed my profile. I wonder who they could have been? So naturally, I took a screenshot of the 3 mysterious visitors listed on my profile and did the same thing. Commented on my own post highlighting it and trolling them for their incompetence. The next morning, I got a call from a senior exec at their head office in the UK, practically licking my boots with apologies, asking what she can do to make this right. I told her I originally only wanted my €50 back as it wasn't fair, nor even legal, that I had to pay it. But since I had to go to such lengths to get their attention now, I wanted my €50 back, a full refund on my entire purchase. And I wanted to keep the product. That was the only thing that would make this go away. She asked for a couple of hours to fix it, and I said okay. About an hour later, I got another call from her again, apologizing. She asked for my PayPal address where she sent the €50, then she refunded the whole purchase. And she let us keep the product. Obviously, I thanked her for her help because at that stage I was just happy it was over. but I'll be ducked if I'll let anyone walk all over my family, even if they are a 58 million pounds annual company. The most of the story here is don't take bullcrap from anyone. I may be just one man, but my son's view of Santa is far more valuable to me than the opinion of some retail chain that doesn't care about its customers, nor how it operates ethically. The next one is a petty revenge story. I stumbled across this subreddit and decided to share a story of petty revenge from my youth. 14-year-old me was a menace to society. She had her fair share of respect for authority and rules. But if you tried to impose a ridiculous rule on her, and she found the tiniest of loopholes, she'd exploit it to kingdom come. Set the scene. I'm in middle school and it's almost Easter, so every class is putting up a kiosk for a bazaar. You're allowed to sell anything, legal obviously, crafts, pastries, art, etc. My class wants to make some money to fund a trip. I've always liked cooking and making desserts, so I offered to make crepes for us to sell. I get up at an ungodly hour every morning and make them to make sure they are fresh. I wear gloves and a hairnet and make sure to sanitize everything to ensure it was safe. A classmate brings bananas because his dad owns a grocery store. Someone else brings honey their relative sent to them because they live in a rural area, etc. You get the point. Team effort. We are up and running in no time and making mad bank. At lunch break, we always have a huge queue of kids waiting to buy our crepes. Unfortunately, that means that the other kiosks aren't getting as much business. We are on good terms with most of the kids from the other kiosks, and they are chill about it. One kiosk has more traffic than others because they are giving out 2 homemade cookies with every purchase. So after a few days, the girls from the cookie kiosk come over to us, along with the headmaster. He says that we can't sell food anymore because it is unfair to the other kiosks. I point out that the girls are also giving out cookies, to which he replies, "You can give out whatever you want for free, including food, but you can't sell it. It's unfair competition." Again, if he had shut it down because of a health concern, we would have dropped it at the bat of an eye. Health is no joke. But claiming that it was unfair that we had a good business idea just didn't sit right with me. Everyone else was free to do what we were doing. I keep thinking about what he said. You can see where this is going, right? We were serving the crepes on those generic white paper plates. So I buy a food safe marker, flip some plates over and start doodling, and some classmates with a knack for art follow suit. We mostly did cartoon and anime characters. Then I hang some plates up around our kiosk and change our sign to Cartoon Character Art 2, currency sign a piece, plus a crepe of your choice with every purchase. And we are back in business. Just like clockwork, the cookie kiosk girls are back at our kiosk with the headmaster again the next day. "I thought I made myself clear," he says. "You did, sir," I reply and point at the sign. After a long silence, a calm facepalm, and a long "I don't get paid enough for this" sigh, he relents and I give him a crepe on the house. He also suggested I become a lawyer. The next one is a malicious compliance story. First, some background. I own a tanning salon, and it is open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day. There are usually 6 girls working part-time there, and the pay is $12 an hour, plus cash commissions on the things they sell. Packages, lotions. It's worth noting that it's a small non-chain business in a college town. All of the paychecks are kept in a drawer, in individual envelopes with the employees' names on them taped shut. They pick up their envelope on payday, and it has worked well except for one instance. One employee decided to open everyone's envelopes to see their pay, and she was livid that one girl was getting paid $2 more an hour. Instead of just asking me about it, she decided to blast the employee group chat and accuse me of ripping them off, etc. Before you think the same thing, it's worth noting again that this is a college town with all college-age workers, which for my particular salon it has meant it's very hard to consistently have someone who wants to close weekends. They are all usually going home, have plans, want to study, etc. I try to be super accommodating and I work around everyone's schedules to the best of my ability. If someone says they cannot work, I do not ask questions. I just accept it and plan accordingly. So the reason this girl made a little extra was because she offered to close both days every weekend because she didn't mind. She didn't want as many week hours, so I offered to pay her a little extra because it was so difficult a lot of the times to schedule that. Plus, those 2 days can be a little slow, so commissions are usually not as good. I guess the girl who snooped never bothered to look at the schedule to see if there was maybe a reason that girl made a little more, even though she really didn't because she worked so few hours. Cue malicious compliance. I explained the situation to all of the girls. I told the snooper that since she was right, totally a rip-off, I would make sure to fix it. I started scheduling both the snooper and my weekend closer every weekend night for the next 3 weeks. I really only needed one person working, but I had done a terrible wrong that needed to be made right. At the extra pay for the snooper, of course. I would have done it longer, but she apologized and said she was totally fine going back to how it was because she wanted her weekends back and the extra pay wasn't worth it. I guess we could have decided that together if she had just talked to me in the first place instead of jumping to conclusions. First, some background. I own a tanning salon, and it is open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day. There are usually 6 girls working part-time there, and the pay is $12 an hour plus cash commissions on the things they sell. Packages, lotions. It's worth noting that it's a small non-chain business in a college town. All of the paychecks are kept in a drawer, in individual envelopes with the employees' names on them taped shut. They pick up their envelope on payday, and it has worked well except for one instance. One employee decided to open everyone's envelopes to see their pay, and she was livid that one girl was getting paid $2 more an hour. Instead of just asking me about it, she decided to blast the employee group chat and accuse me of ripping them off, etc. Before you think the same thing, it's worth noting again that this is a college town with all college-age workers, which for my particular salon it has meant it's very hard to consistently have someone who wants to close weekends. They're all usually going home, have plans, want to study, etc. I try to be super accommodating and I work around everyone's schedules to the best of my ability. If someone says they cannot work, I do not ask questions, I just accept it and plan accordingly. So, the reason this girl made a little extra was because she offered to close both days every weekend because she didn't mind. She didn't want as many week hours, so I offered to pay her a little extra because it was so difficult a lot of the times to schedule that. Plus, those 2 days can be a little slow, so commissions are usually not as good. I guess the girl who snooped never bothered to look at the schedule to see if there was maybe a reason that girl made a little more, even though she really didn't because she worked so few hours. Cue malicious compliance. I explained the situation to all of the girls. I told the snooper that since she was right, totally a rip-off, I would make sure to fix it. I started scheduling both the snooper and my weekend closer every weekend night for the next 3 weeks. I really only needed one person working, but I had done a terrible wrong that needed to be made right. At the extra pay for the snooper, of course. I would have done it longer, but she apologized and said she was totally fine going back to how it was, because she wanted her weekends back and the extra pay wasn't worth it. I guess we could have decided that together if she had just talked to me in the first place, instead of jumping to conclusions. The next one is an entitled people story. This all happened almost 10 years ago, but after spending all morning reading stories on this sub, I felt like sharing my own experience. For years, early 30s at the time, was close friends with Brittany, same age as me. Brittany and I had gone to college together, gone on trips together, and were pretty much inseparable. She had always had a bit of an entitled streak to her, but it was never anything drastic. She usually kept it restrained to things like being the only one to pick which restaurant our group of friends went to or having her seat in each friend's home. Annoying, yes, but pretty mild overall. Then, Christmas hit. A mutual friend of ours decided to hold a Christmas get-together for our large, extended friend group, which included both me and Brittany. This friend, Mary, had recently gotten married and bought a new house with her new husband, Matt. Mary's wedding had been a small, private, family-only affair. To celebrate with friends, as well as celebrate their new house and the holiday, Mary invited about 30 people from our extended friend group to a big Christmas party. It was wonderful. Mary has always been one hell of a cook, and she insisted on providing everything for the guests. She did all of the cooking, bought tons of drinks, alcoholic and non-alcoholic, and made sure none of her guests were without a drink or plate of amazing food all night. Mary had only one request for her guests. Each person bring a gift to contribute to a white elephant gift exchange. Happily, especially given how much Mary and Matt shelled out to feed us all, we all brought a gift. For those not familiar, white elephant exchanges, called Yankee Swap or Dirty Santa in some places, involve everyone bringing a wrapped gift. Then one by one, each person chooses a gift from the pile. The first person opens her chosen gift. Then, the second person can either open a new gift or steal the first person's gift. Third can steal second's or first's gift or pick a new one. On and on until everyone has had a chance. Then, the first person gets the last chance to steal. One rule put in place in a lot of these exchanges is that a gift can only be stolen twice. So, if you are the third person to get your hands on a gift, it is yours for good, and no one can take it from you. This was the downfall of Mary's gift exchange, at least when it came to Brittany. The gift exchange started, and people were having fun stealing blankets, candles, gift cards, and the like from other friends. No one was upset if their gift was stolen. Hell, it's all for fun, and we are all friends, right? Well, Matt, Mary's new husband and party co-host, was really good at making his own beer. As his gift in the exchange, he wrapped up a full case of this amazing dark stout that he made. Bob opened that and was excited. We all knew how amazing the beer was as we had been drinking it all night at the party. Then, Tim stole the beer from Bob. We laughed, Bob was disappointed, but he gave it over to Tim in spirit of the game. Then it was my turn. I stole the beer from Tim. Like Bob, Tim was disappointed but willingly gave me the beer and laughed along with his disappointment. Notice that I was the third owner of the case of beer? That means that per the rules of Mary's game, I was safe from having the beer stolen from me. Brittany was the next to go. She tried to steal the beer, but was reminded by several people that the beer had been stolen twice, so was now officially mine. Instead of just picking a new gift or stealing someone else's, Brittany threw a fit. All the other gifts suck. That's not fair. The beer's the only thing I want. I wouldn't have played if I knew this stupid rule. On and on and on she went. She was making everyone uncomfortable, especially Mary. Matt intervened and politely asked Brittany to just play along. He reminded her there were still a few bottles of the stout in the kitchen if she wanted one. But no, Brittany couldn't handle not having the full case to take home with her. She pouted and refused to pick another gift or play the game. So we skipped her. The game continued on, and everyone, other than Brittany, had a gift. With only one gift left, Brittany was forced to take that or nothing. She chose nothing, and on top continued to idiot and moan about how unfair the rules were. The person who brought the unclaimed gift took it back and gave it to Mary and Matt as a housewarming gift. Seeing that, Brittany stormed out and left. I thought that would be the end of it, but I was wrong. Over the next few days, I was barraged with text messages from Brittany demanding that I give her the case of Matt's beer. She didn't ask if I would share it, which I probably would have done. She demanded that I give it to her outright, saying, you know the rules were bullcrap and it should have been mine anyway. When I told her no, she started with guilt trips. You make more money than me, so you can buy expensive beer and I can't. We've been friends for so long, it's only right. You're just being selfish. The final message from her was, I hope you choke on it, a-hole. I blocked her number, removed her from my FB friends list, and haven't spoken to her since. Nor for that matter have Mary and Matt nor about a third of the party guests. She lost a lot of friends all over a case of beer. It was damned good beer, though. I thought of Brittany every time I drank a bottle. Thank you for watching. I would really appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already.